Well, hey, good afternoon. We're here at the Miniature Hereford Junior Nationals in Lubbock, Texas, and we're glad to be with you. Something new we're trying. Today we have Shane Bedwell. He's here from American Hereford Association, gave a presentation earlier. We have Charles Rolla, one of our regional directors, and Dan Wiley, the VP of the MHBA, and of course I'm the president of the MHBA. So we're gonna just visit a little bit with Shane and ask some questions, talk a little bit about what's going on with the American Hereford Association, and of course how that affects us, because we register our cattle through the American Hereford Association. So you want to give a little quick brief introduction of what you were here for? And
yeah, you bet, Craig. Appreciate you guys having me down. I spent the morning talking to members, and we had a little session on DNA. Obviously that's a big part of our business today, and what we do and how we conduct business, and getting the pedigrees right is really important, and we take a lot of pride in that from an association standpoint. And I want to commend you guys as an organization within what you've done with some of your rules to require at the shows parent verification on your animals, and I think that's a good thing, a good step in the right direction. And we talked about this morning, it's not intentional errors that are made by folks. It's just calving events or wrong straw semen went in, cleanup bull calved early, more to the AI date, and it's just those mistakes happen. And so it's a big important part to get that right in our herd book and maintain that.
yeah, absolutely. And I think we all think of the bad things possibly that are out there. Someone's not doing that right on purpose, but much of the time, and if we're all breeders, we understand, we don't always record everything correctly. We don't know exactly what bull or how in the world that bull got across and got that heifer or whatever, so yep. It's one of those things that we're used to, but yeah. We're glad now, obviously looking at the future, to shore up that Hereford foundation, that Hereford breed. I think this is going to go a long ways, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the right way to look at it. It's going forward, not looking back, but it's going forward and doing the best that we can. Hey, technology is different, and that's a big reason why we can leverage those resources today and improve on some of the things that that we didn't necessarily neglect. We just couldn't measure as good as what we had. So I think it's a great opportunity to again just get everything right and do the best job as we can as breeders.
Well, and obviously doing DNA tests and doing all that stuff more so was on the fact of to get rid of some of the negative traits or something that could show up in the Hereford breed, but it's gone more than that now. It's the no parentage. I think it's gone way further probably than when the originals started it, but it's all needed.
And it'll continue to evolve. We're currently testing on SNP-based markers for genomics in addition to the genetic condition test, and working and managing around those, and of course parentage, as you've mentioned, but we'll continue to evolve as new technology relative to sequencing. Whole genome sequencing used to be $10,000 to $12,000 an animal, and now that technology is around $300 an animal to get the whole genome of an animal sequence. It's crazy. And so as we learn more information about some of the important traits relative to growth or carcass or maternal or fertility, we'll leverage that for better breeding. And it's just how the future will be.
So Shane, speaking of the future, how do you see the Hereford industry moving forward in the future? Any changes with the more sustainable practices, or just general changes across the industry as a whole? How do you see that?
Yeah, it's a really big topic right now in our industry, and I think we have to remember why the Hereford cattle were brought here to the U.S. to begin with. In Herefordshire, England, the queen enjoyed the great tasting beef and the efficiency of the breed. It was discovered by our pioneers in the early 1800s and the mid 1800s, and they were brought over to be put on the Longhorns and known as the Great Improvers. And so Herefords inherently have been known for efficiency, and that's not just efficiency in the feed yard, but that's efficiency in the pasture, and we know those correlate very, very well, and docility, and so those things are really important to the breed. I think we've done a really good job of maintaining that, and that's something that we needed to continue to work on. And so, in the name of sustainability, I don't think you can say sustainability and not say efficiency.
Yeah.
And the Hereford breed is positioned very well, I think, to go forward with its genetics, with the inherent strengths that we have, to leverage that on the mama cow side. And we're working on some projects right now at the association to focus on that maternal efficiency, maternal heterosis, and where that Hereford bull can really be positioned. I think the challenge, though, is right now in our industry, the packer, the meat business wants a lot of pounds. And, part of that is a short cattle supply, and they want more and more. And we all know that more and more pounds aren't necessarily what works in the pasture and some of our tougher range conditions. And so it'll be a systems approach. We'll have to evolve and work with that, but I never see the mama cow and the efficiency of the mama cow going out of style.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed in the last couple of years, I'm noticing a lot more Herefords in the the best show in Ohio. I see a lot more Herefords in those classes. The county fairs, we're seeing more Herefords too. Are you guys seeing that in your guys' shows too?
Yeah, it's amazing as you go throughout the whole year. And Bruce Everhart, a former president of the American Hereford Association, he's from Indiana, and he says, if you love your kids, you'll get them a Hereford. And in his case, if you love your grandkids, you'll get them a Hereford, because again, that disposition of them is really nice. It's good for a young kid to start with, and they can really fall in love with the project and have a really good experience. And so I would say that's one thing that's helped Herefords as we've continued to evolve them. But at the same time, I want to commend all the breeders out there. You guys have just made them better. And you see these top fives at state fairs or different regional shows, all breed shows, and Herefords are getting in there and being very competitive. And so you can pat yourself on the back for that. And I challenge you just to keep making them good, and we're going to have a lot of success.
And I hear you talking about, obviously, the Hereford breed itself, and the miniature Hereford, obviously, when they're looking for pounds, we're scaling back on size, but we still take all the traits that you have said, just in a smaller package. The efficiency, the maternal, the docility, all those things in a smaller package. We may not market, obviously, to the same, because a feed yard is not going to take 1,000 miniature Herefords in there. Yep. Although when you speak to people like my dad, who raised them in the 50s and 60s, he's always the first one to say, I think I had a yard of those once. Yeah. And they were 1,000 pounds fat, and sure. Things have changed, obviously. We hit a little different market. Portion size has always been, now we're talking with the public now with portion size. We kind of fit that category a little bit. So there's different things that, we market to different areas. So.
Yeah, I think that's awesome about our beef industry, is there's a place for everyone to get involved and be successful. And I guess the one positive part that came out of COVID is that everybody fell back in love with beef, and they realized that you didn't have to go to a white tablecloth restaurant to get a really good steak. And people learned to cook really good hamburgers and really good steaks, and learn how to cook a pot roast again. And, it brought the people in the country back to beef that were probably 2 generations removed from it, removed from an ag or ranch or farming background. And you can see what it's done in our marketplace. The demand for beef is at an all-time high. The marketability of it is incredible, both domestically and internationally. And it's because of the taste and quality. And Hereford beef tastes really, really good. So no matter what market channel you're positioning that in, I think you can have a lot of success with Hereford beef.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in what you just said, because we noticed we raise freezer beef, and we got people knocking our doors down wanting it now.
Yep.
And so a lot of truth to that.
Yep.
So Shane, you kept coming back to, you started off the reason Herefords came to America. So there's truly some great heritage there. How do we, as the Hereford Association and the Mini Hereford Association, build off of that heritage as we move into the future? Yeah,
heritage is really important, and the tradition. I think that's what make Hereford people really unique in our industry. Is that a lot of ranches across the whole country were bought and paid for with Hereford cattle, and I grew up watching a lot of John Wayne movies. I still watch John Wayne movies. When I'm home, my wife's like, "How many John Wayne movies can you watch?" And they never get old. But it's a part of the West, and I think everybody likes a cowboy. And Hereford cattle were a part of our industry then, and they are now. And with the technology and the advancements that we've made, I think you can really produce a great product. And so that tradition and that heritage, instilling that with you folks, like what you do in your organization, sets those kids up for success, and they fall in love with the breed. It's not a big animal that they have to manage and walk around with. It's less intimidating. And so I know a lot of folks in our junior association that have started showing cattle here, and they're on and doing really cool things in the industry. So I think it's a good segue into the rest of the beef industry.
And I think we've embraced that more so now than we used to. We like to see young kids get involved in, our association and showing our smaller cattle. And then all of a sudden they grow up, and then what happened to them? But that's okay. They progressed into, some stay around, and you'll see we have seniors here, obviously, that continue raising their own cattle. But we feel that's okay. They're in the cattle industry. They're growing the cattle industry. Sure, we'd like to have them stay in the Hereford side, but that doesn't always happen that way. But it's still, they get their knowledge and their love for cattle when they're tiny, and so that sticks with them.
That's really good.
All right, we want to thank our guest here, and we appreciate you being with us at the Lone Star lineup. This is the MHBA MHYF Junior Nationals here in Lubbock, Texas. We'll be back with more, but thanks you for joining us.